Yeah, yeah. We have stuff to go over. All right, wait, hold on. Yeah, Dennis, I know. I'm sorry. I know. You've been sitting there waiting for so long. Yes, yes, it is good that you're potty trained. Hold on, I'm sending them to you now. Hello! Welcome back to the newsroom. We have got new items to go over today. Today, in Guild Wars 2 news on the forums, they posted some big information. Today on the Guild Wars 2 forums, there was a message from Andrew Gray that is very much worth your time in going over. And now you're scared, and now I'm excited, Moonlit. Ah! Let's take a looky-loo. Wait, what? Welcome back! We're experiencing technical difficulties. Someone in the newsroom is 100% fired. You! Out! Back to the news. What we have to go over today is a message from Andrew Gray. He posted a post onto the poster place that is 120% worth reading. Let's go over it. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Gray. I took over as content design lead a few months back, and I want to talk a bit about the last year, this year, and what's going on the horizon for Guild Wars 2. First, 2019 was hard. Pause. Chat, let me briefly tell you what happened in 2019. It is a somber tale full of woe and sorrow that I am going to summarize in 10 words or less. 143 people got fired. To summarize it in more words than 10, is that their parent company, NCSoft, told Guild Wars 2, we're going to fire 143 of you, but we're not sure who yet. They literally did something like that and waited 4 days before telling them who got to stay and who had to go. It was a very stressful time for ArenaNet employees. So, once that settled, between a quarter and a third of their staff got the boot because of NCSoft. Honestly, it is very impressive that they continued to push out content on the same schedule after that blow to their staff. They lost so many developers. There are many people who will complain about what they've put out after the fact, but I encourage you to remember that although they might not have put out the content you like, a lot of people will scream about the world versus world and the PvP, but they did put out new stuff that was the same quality as what they were doing every few months, and I find that impressive. Now, that's what happened in 2019 around February. 2019 was hard. I've been in with ArenaNet since 2004, and I can say without question, 2019 was the studio's most challenging. Many of the people who left in 2019 were not involved in the day-to-day development of Guild Wars 2. That much is true, but they were friends, colleagues, and in some cases, literally family. All the teams were affected by saying goodbye to so many colleagues. I'm proud of what we were able to ship under the circumstances, but we must understand the legacy we are trying to carry forward with Guild Wars 2. Rather than slip into a status quo, we are all determined to create an even better game moving forward. Okay. We've got our footing, and we have exciting plans for the future of Guild Wars 2. I can't talk about what I am most excited for yet, but I can tell you that 2020 is laying the groundwork for an exciting future. Here are some of the highlights. Now, pause. I will go ahead and already say that this could be lip service. You know, any company can do this. Any company can say, in the future, blah, 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 blah. However, I'm hopeful. Since a couple months ago, when they, may not have been that long, since the different people were made department heads, it has been, they've stuck to what they've said. They're like, we're going to nerf Rampage. Boom! Rampage was wrecked. We're going to have a small patch for you guys soon. 3 days later, new patch. We're going to have a big patch soon. Took a little bit of time. Patch notes with 700 upcoming changes. So they're on my good side right now. I'm inclined to believe them until they give me a reason not to. Now, They said the groundwork. That makes me think they got a whole lot planned, and this is just step 1. Living World. Between episodes 2 and 3, we already mentioned that we'll be releasing a special new type of content called Visions of the Past. We'll have more details on that at PAX East. PAX East is soon to happen. I will say, Mukluk is not super excited at this time for Visions of the Past, but the reason being, it is a story mode where you don't play your character. I love my character. I'm very invested in my character. When a Fractal makes me play a GD Dolphin, I get angry, because I want to play an Asura that I have had for 7 years, not a GD Dolphin. Can you post the link? Absolutely. Dennis giveth and Dennis taketh away. There you are. Now, I can't go into a ton of details on episodes 3 and 4 because spoilers and all, but I can tell you the map is meta-focused with a push and pull similar to World v World in a PvE setting. Ooh. We want maps this season to bring something to them that makes them a permanent part of your play experience. That's why the culmination of Bureau Marches is a world boss, and we're striving for high replayability for the episodes 3 and 4 maps. We want it to be a unique, fun, and rewarding experience that will be part of your daily, weekly play cycle. That's good. There is quite a few Living World Season 2, 3, 4 zones that are not very populated. They're never completely dead, but there's very few people in them. The one where you get the jade fragments and the one where you get the fire orchids, usually fairly thin numbers there. So they're trying to put replayable content in the zones. I think that's a good idea. People do world boss trains all the time. Now, after episode 4, again, I'm going to be somewhat vague here, but we want to revisit some of the types of content we pioneered in the past. We learned a lot with Living World Season 1, and one thing it did very well was to bring the community into the story and make their actions drive the plot forward. The Nightmare Tower, the election between Evan Nashblade and Ellen Keel. I was not actively playing the game at that time. I don't know much about it. These things are memorable experiences because the community's combined efforts had had an impact on the world. As you may have noticed, we've been testing tech with things like Boss Rush event that we hope to leverage later on in the Icebird Saga to create a unique community experience. But learning lessons from Season 1, the bulk of this content will be built in a way that is still playable after the Icebird Saga comes to a close. Again, pretty much what I just said. They're adding replayable stuff and hoping that we want to replay it. I think that is a good goal. Generally, as a team, we're placing greater emphasis on repeatable content, open world events, world bosses, world v world, and yes, even fractals. Hint, hint. Fractals have been largely untouched for over a year. I don't know how many years, but at least a year, there's been almost no changes. They buffed the underwater one, that's about it. We want to make types of content that have a lasting positive impact on the game to expect the designed approach to focus on that more going forward. On the topic of fractals, reports of their death have been greatly exaggerated, though I apologize that our silence on that topic raised concern. I'm personally committed to fractals and see them as an area that deserves more focus and attention going forward. I'm happy to announce that Cameron Rich, who worked on fractals in Season 3, will be taking the reins on as a new fractal he rolls off his current duties. I butchered that sentence. He's making a new fractal, chat. This fractal will feature a challenge mode. At the moment, the only 2 fractals with challenge modes that people do are 99 and 100. And there's people every single day who do, like, looking for CMs, looking for a group of CMs. So this is huge. Beyond that, I'm working with the system design team on more plans to keep fractals fresh and exciting. Ooh, I'm excited, and when everything is ready to share, he'll have more details. Raids. Now, this does not impact the Mukluk streams much because we don't do... Raids is really the only content I don't do on the regular, but it is very popular in sub-circles. So, raids are a trickier beast. There's a unique experience and community that we want to find better ways to support. The biggest challenge in creating more is that it is a small audience they attract. Here to explain that, chat, get your mind in the head of the developer and the people that pay the developers. If they spend many man hours making a new raid and 5% of the player base enjoy the raid, that's not much incentive for the people who pay the bills to pay the developers to make more raids. Okay? So that's really the nitty gritty. Our intention was for... Places, everyone, places. Guests have arrived. The hell was that? Our intention was for strike missions to be that intermediary step into 10-person content. As we mentioned before, and you've likely noticed, strike missions are getting harder. Once a full suite of strike missions is complete, there should be a graceful ramp up to the existing raid content rather than the imposing leap that has previously existed. And our hope is that once the ramp is in place, the number of players participating in raids will go up. In addition to that, we strive to make improvements to strike missions themselves to make grouping easier and improve the rewards. We hope that this will help introduce more people to 10-man content, which will in turn increase the number of people interested in raids. Now, I think that is a good goal. I do not think what is happening right now is a good impression of that goal. We got the Aura guy, Polar Bears, the Ice Dude, Bone Skinner. And then I'm throwing something above the Bone Skinner line, which is where the new strike boss is. Like, it's like step, 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 rocket ship to the moon. The stairs need shaving. Regardless of if that succeeds or not, we understand the importance of balancing our efforts between accessible content with broad appeal and content that appeals to the more hardcore audience, and recognize that we need to do a better job of supporting the latter. I'm excited for what's coming next. There's going to be more news going throughout this year that will make it pretty kitten clear why, but in the meantime, we're incredibly grateful for all your constructive feedback and continued support of the game, blah, 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 blah. And of course, immediately, because players cannot be satisfied, what about World v. World? What about World v. World? What about World v. World? Children, please! This man might not even be in charge of World v. World. Calm down. So, new Fractal. Changes to raids soon. They're trying to make strikes become a ramp leading into raids. We finally know what strikes are meant to be. Many times, I said, I have complaints about the strike, but I don't know what they want it to be. If it's the replacement for raids, I'm okay with it being insanely difficult, but they should up the loot. If it is supposed to be a puggable raid, keep the loot the same, but make the dang thing easier, because there was a huge disparity between challenge and reward, to the point where I gave Bone Skinner 4 tries today, and then I gave up, because it didn't look like we were going to do it in a timely manner, and the rewards aren't that good. But Wizard Rise is actually easier than it looks. If you have 10 competent people, abso-freaking-lutely, Boda King. I think all of them are easier than they look, which is also easy if you have 10 competent people. The hard part is getting that 10 competent people. What did I walk into? The news, J-Pax! Good lord. Educate yourself. Who let you in the studio? God dang. Anywho, that's the news for today. We got lots to look forward to, and I will keep you up to date with the new ins and outs that will be arriving.
A new arrival.
Did you leave the door to the studio open again? Yes, Lockett. Fired. Brad, out. Brad, no. Okay, Chantel, whatever your name is, out. Good lord. Back to you, Mug. Oh my god.